You know, the fans are there to watch me play. I want to impress that guy way up on top who probably worked his ass off to get a ticket.
They have got to do something about this load management. It's hurting the game.
LeBron always moves strange, not like Kobe. And when the Diddy stuff came out, I knew I was right all along. That's why I chose to mentor Kobe, not him.
Yeah, you heard that right. Michael Jordan just let loose about load management, and the message he sent to today's players hit like a punch to the chest. He said the league's turning soft and straight up disrespecting both the fans and the game itself. And get this, he even hinted at a hidden truth about LeBron's games that might make you look at the entire NBA in a whole new way. Today we're breaking down MJ's Iron Man mentality that made him a legend, the shock around LeBron's secret, and the wild stats that show how much softer the NBA has gotten since load management took over. This one's about to get heated. People always say they don't make players like they used to, and Jordan is the reason that line even exists. In his mind, he had a code. If someone spent their hard-earned paycheck to see him play, he owed them everything that night. No resting, no skipping, no, I'll sit this one out. If you bought a ticket for Michael Jordan, you got Michael Jordan every single game. He didn't just talk that talk either. He played all 82 games 9 different times, even when he was in his late 30s with the Wizards. His knees were cooked, his body was worn down, but he still suited up every night like it was the finals. Meanwhile, today's players sit out in the middle of December for load management. And don't forget, this is the same guy who dropped 38 points in the '97 finals with the flu while barely able to stand. That wasn't just toughness. That was a level of competitiveness that almost didn't seem real.
Never come to me and talk to me about load management. Like, AI, you're not playing tonight. Why? We're resting you. You're resting me like you're resting me. That's not load management. That's a suspension, man.
Yeah. MJ pushed through ankle sprains, migraines, back pain, exhaustion. Whatever hit him. In 1993, after his father was murdered, he said basketball became therapy for him, and that shows how deep his connection to the game was. And it didn't stop there. His intensity spread to the whole team. Teammates said practice with MJ was tougher than actual games. Steve Kerr even got punched in '95 because Jordan couldn't flip the switch off. He wanted everyone to show up with his same fire, his same grind, his same obsession. That's why those Bulls teams weren't just strong. They were on another level entirely. And here's what most people don't realize. That relentless mindset didn't just win rings. It helped build the entire NBA empire we know today. Before MJ showed up, the league wasn't anything close to the global powerhouse it is now. In the early '80s, some finals games weren't even shown live. Then Jordan popped up, never took a night off, put on a show every game, and suddenly the NBA became the biggest thing in sports. Merchandise blew up. Every kid on the planet wanted to be like Mike. The league didn't grow worldwide because of fancy marketing. It grew because fans trusted Jordan to show up and deliver something unforgettable every single night. If you paid for a ticket, you knew you were getting the real deal. Jordan believed greatness meant showing up even when it hurt, even when the odds were stacked against you. That was his code. So when a man who played through the flu, exhaustion, and grief calls out today's players for disrespecting fans by sitting out, you feel that impact. You can't just brush that off. And here's the crazy part. Jordan's not the only one who feels that way. When he called out load management, NBA legends didn't even hesitate to agree. Icons like Allen Iverson, Charles Barkley, and Magic Johnson all nodded like, finally, someone said it. That wasn't Jordan being bitter. That was him speaking for an entire era built on one simple rule. If you can walk, you play. Kobe Bryant was the closest thing the league ever had to Jordan's mindset.
What do you think of when you hear the term load management thrown around?
It shouldn't be needed, first and foremost, you know.
Kobe hated the idea of resting just because. In one of his last interviews, he literally laughed and said he couldn't understand the concept at all. He was genuinely confused, like, what the heck is load management? This is the same man who tore his Achilles, stood up, and still hit 2 free throws before limping off the court. Back in 2019, when people asked if he ever thought about sitting out, Kobe straight up said this, and that was the Mamba talking. He and Jordan shared the same DNA, something LeBron never really had. Then there's Allen Iverson, the toughest 6-foot player the league has ever seen. AI played every game like it was a fight on the blacktop. Fractured fingers, bruised ribs, sprained ankles, none of it mattered to him. He showed up ready to battle every single night. It didn't matter to him at all. He once said on the New Heights podcast that the idea of resting on purpose didn't even exist when he played, and he meant that with his whole chest. He said if you could walk, you were hooping. Simple as that. And Jordan wasn't exaggerating either. In 2001, Allen Iverson pushed through 10 listed injuries and still dragged the Sixers to the finals like it was nothing. That's real heart, and Charles Barkley has been calling this out for years, never trying to hide how he feels on TNT.
Stop this BS with load management. We can't keep crapping on the fans where we're like, wait, yeah, you're making $70 million and you can't play basketball 4 days a week?
He said straight up that modern players are pampered. They shortchange fans. And it's wild how guys sit out games while being completely healthy. Barkley's logic stays the same. Fans pay crazy money to see the top players hoop, not watch them sitting on the bench, dressed in designer tracksuits. And he's not wrong. That's classic Barkley, raw, bold, and impossible to shake. And then you've got Magic Johnson. When load management started getting attention, Magic didn't sugarcoat anything either. He said clear as day that it's hurting the game, and he wasn't lying. Magic built Showtime, and he understood something simple. The NBA is any entertainment, and if your stars aren't on the court, the whole show falls apart. He even pointed out that TV ratings dropped nearly 40% in recent years, and nobody was shocked why. Fans check out when stars don't play because they feel like the product they paid for isn't even there. And don't forget the true Iron Men: Karl Malone, Patrick Ewing, Larry Bird. These were guys who treated an 80-game season like it was nothing but a warm-up. Malone alone played 80 or more games in 17 out of 19 seasons. 17. That's almost 2 decades of never missing work. Patrick Ewing was cut from the same cloth. Even when his knees were giving out on him, he still suited up for all 82 games because that's just how he was built. And Larry Bird, that man's back was finished when completely worn down. His herniated discs were so bad he had to lie flat on the locker room floor during timeouts just to survive the pain. And he still went out there and dropped 30 points because fans paid to see greatness. He once said he didn't want to disappoint the people who came to see him play. And that shows exactly what made that era different. Those players saw showing up as respect, both to the game and to the people watching. You don't take nights off when whole families plan their entire week around seeing you perform. So when Jordan calls out today's stars, including LeBron, for promoting what he sees as laziness and softness, he's not ranting for attention.
Because I was injured during that whole year. But other than that, if I'm able to play, I'll play basketball.
He's warning the league before it slips into mediocrity. And if someone thinks this is just older players being nostalgic, the numbers prove the point loud and clear. In the 80s and 90s, playing every game wasn't some miracle. It was normal. It was expected. In 1980, 56 players played all 82 games. The next year, it was 57. And all through the 90s, the same pattern kept rolling. 58 in 1990, 50 in 1991, 50 in 1992, 51 in 1993, 52 in 1994, 53 in 1995, 54 in 1996, 55 in 1997, 56 in 1998, and 57 in 1999. Then into the early 2000s, you still had seasons with nearly 60 players hitting every single game. Full rosters worth of hoopers who were true Iron Men. Now fast forward to the load management era. By 2016, there were just 18 players playing all 82 games. The next year, 17. By 2019, only 21. Then it fell off a cliff completely. In 2022, 5 players total, 5 out of hundreds. 2023 had 10. And projections for 2025 are barely hovering around 11. From nearly 60 a year to barely more than a handful. Look how far the grind has dropped. That's not evolution. That's a straight slap to the NBA's legacy. And it's not as if the league suddenly got harder. Today's players have everything: private jets, personal chefs, sleep coaches, and recovery tech that looks like it came from a sci-fi lab. Yet somehow, they play less. Old school players didn't have load charts or fancy data. They had ice baths, grit, and pride, and they showed up because the fans deserve consistency. That's not progress. That's a straight-up warning sign. The numbers don't just talk. They expose a whole era that forgot what it means to show up every night like it's your job. The league doesn't hit with the same energy anymore. Today's NBA is locked in on comfort, control, and strategic rest, like the game is some science project. Players manage their minutes like they're managing investments, and sure, on paper it sounds smart. But when fans spend serious money just to watch their favorite player sit courtside in designer sweats, it doesn't feel smart at all. It feels like a slap in the face. The modern NBA turned playing basketball into risk management, with guys skipping games like it's company policy. Back in the day, players were scared of losing their spot. Now some players fear soreness, and that shift says everything. And you can't talk about this without mentioning the biggest name of this era, LeBron James. His whole "if I'm hurt, I don't play, if not I'm playing" line from 2019 might have sounded strategic. but plenty of people saw it as soft for someone aiming to be the greatest ever. And that line shows the mindset of this generation. It's not about pushing through pain, it's about protecting the brand. LeBron has missed over 100 games in the last 5 seasons. More than MJ missed his entire Bulls career outside the broken foot year, and that's a wild difference. Especially when you remember MJ was out there playing 40 minutes a night, getting hit by the bad boy Pistons, and still showing up the next day like nothing happened. And here's where it hits deep. The flu game, Game 5 of the 1997 Finals. Jordan could barely stand, drenched in sweat, pale, exhausted. And his trainer told him he was finished, but MJ still walked out, dropped 38 points, hit the dagger, and fell into Pippen's arms after the buzzer. That wasn't just a game, that was a message. He played when his body said no because he respected the game that much. But let's be real, LeBron isn't the only one. Kawhi Leonard practically kicked off modern load management during the Raptors' 2019 run. The plan was simple: sit Kawhi for 22 games, so he's fresh for the playoffs. And yeah, it worked. They got a ring. But it created a ripple effect across the league. Teams saw it and said, why push anything in January when we can save everything for April? Suddenly, Kawhi became the face of load management, and that whole Raptors plan turned a medical strategy into a league-wide culture. And who can forget when Kawhi got asked about it at a press conference and just shrugged? If I can play, I'll play, he said, and kept it moving like it was nothing. Then there's Kevin Durant, always talking about protecting longevity and being smart with his body. And sure, from a career standpoint, KD's logic adds up. But from a fan perspective, it takes away the magic. Old school players weren't thinking about load science or career extension. They played for legacy every single night. Karl Malone, Patrick Ewing, Larry Bird, those guys weren't calculating anything. They were chasing greatness like it was oxygen. KD's approach works for long careers, but for fans hoping to see greatness in person, it changes everything. Even Steph Curry, one of the most beloved players alive, has adjusted to this rest-when-necessary mindset. He missed multiple marquee matchups last season for load management reasons. And the crazy part is that it has become totally normal. Stars play around 60 games, skip the rough ones, and still get placed in MVP conversations like they've been grinding nonstop. If you tried to explain that to the players from the 90s, they'd look at you like you're joking and walk away laughing. But here's the real twist that exposes the whole situation. The rest hasn't even worked. Teams claim they're being smarter, more scientific, more careful. But injuries still keep stacking up. A 2024 study showed player availability actually dropped over the past decade, even with all this load management, which makes the whole situation confusing. If the strategy doesn't even help players stay healthy, then what are we really doing out here? MJ's generation didn't have sports scientists telling them when to breathe. They had pride, and that pride helped build the NBA into a global powerhouse. These new stars are benefiting from that foundation, but the truth is tough. The league might never get that raw, passionate era back. So yeah, this really is the softest era the NBA has ever seen. The talent is amazing, sure, but the heart, the hunger, the sense of responsibility, and the respect for the grind just aren't the same. MJ didn't treat basketball like a hobby. He treated it like a duty he owed to the game and to the fans. But too many players today act like showing up is optional instead of expected. And here's where it gets real spicy. Because when MJ spoke out about load management, he wasn't talking in vague terms at all. That message had a name on it, even if he didn't say it out loud. Everybody knows exactly who he was referring to: LeBron James. MJ doesn't throw random jabs. He's way too calculated for that. When he talks about players sitting out, losing hunger, and choosing comfort over competition, that's not broad criticism. That's him saying loud and clear, don't claim you're the greatest ever if you're picking rest nights over real matchups. And here's the wild part. MJ has always shown serious respect for Kobe Bryant. He called Kobe his little brother and said he was the only one who truly matched his drive. MJ respected that relentless push. Kobe didn't talk about being built different. He stepped on the court and proved it every night. Now ask yourself, has MJ ever said anything like that about LeBron? Not once. And we've all seen that clip, the one where MJ said LeBron moves strange. That wasn't just some random thought he dropped for fun. That was a calculated comment. What MJ really meant was that LeBron doesn't share that old school DNA because LeBron's version of greatness is based on strategy and calculation. LeBron protects his image like a brand, always talking about longevity, efficiency, and maintaining his body, and that's his approach. But MJ came from an era where greatness meant stepping on the court ready to dominate, not maintain. Kobe understood that mindset, and that's why MJ respected him like a peer, not just a successor. And now back to load management, because it's gotten so out of hand the NBA literally had to step in and force star players to suit up. That's right. The league finally said, enough and introduced the player participation policy, which basically means if you're healthy, you're playing, no more choosing random rest nights just because. Since 2023, the rule has been crystal clear. Star players must appear in all nationally televised games and all in-season tournament games unless there's a real medical reason to sit. Teams can't sit more than one star in the same game either. And then there's the 65-game rule. You want MVP, All-NBA, or Defensive Player of the Year? Cool, go hoop. You need at least 65 games to even be considered. That rule alone tells you everything. Fans and the league are tired of the excuses and ready for players to show up again. Think back to 2012 when Greg Popovich got fined $250,000 for resting starters against the Heat on national TV. That was the first warning shot. Now it's a full-on crackdown because the situation got way out of control. And honestly, it's disappointing the NBA even had to create a rule like this. Jordan didn't need anyone to tell him to play. Kobe didn't need a policy either. But now the league has to attach awards and honors just to get some players on the floor. And that doesn't feel like load management. It feels like the league has to babysit grown professionals just to keep the game alive. Teams keep tossing around fancy terms like heart rate monitoring, recovery protocols, and workload metrics like they're running some kind of space program instead of a basketball team. They act like sitting out 20 games is part of a genius master plan. They call it protecting longevity or optimizing performance. And yeah, it sounds official, but it's really not as brilliant as they claim. The NBA did a full 10-year study and found no real proof that resting players actually prevents injuries. Their own report literally said, "Results do not suggest that missing games for rest or load management reduces future injury risk." Translation: load management is basically a complete illusion dressed up in science. And the worst part? The fans are the ones paying the price every single time. Season ticket holders plan months ahead just to show up and see their favorite star sitting courtside in street clothes instead of playing. That's where the damage really shows up. Think back to Kawhi Leonard's 2019 Raptors run. He missed 22 regular season games for load management just so he'd be fresh for the playoffs. Sure, it worked. They won a ring. But here's the twist that changed everything. That season became a blueprint for the entire league. Teams copied it instantly, and all of a sudden load management wasn't about health anymore. It was about math and strategy. And the fallout has been rough. Real fans, the ones dropping serious money, keep getting let down. In 2022, Curry set out a big Warriors versus Bucks matchup. In 2023, LeBron skipped multiple nationally televised games, and social media exploded with frustration. And now it's deeper than just a missed night. Load management is twisting whole narratives, MVP races, playoff seeding, highlight reels. Everything now comes with the same question. Yeah, but which games did the star actually play? Every time a star sits out, the league loses a little more of its spark, another piece of excitement gone. This isn't just about stats or trophies. This is about what basketball used to represent. Back then, the grind meant everything. Michael Jordan didn't show up just because he had skill. He showed up because it mattered to him. Legends like Kobe, Bird, and Malone treated pain like part of the job. Fans expected sweat, drama, intensity, and they got all of it every night. Now the whole story flipped. Stars manage minutes, skip tough games, and fans feel that emptiness every time. The thrill of the unknown got replaced with comfort and controlled strategy. And when Jordan spoke out about load management, it wasn't just some heated rant. It was a wake-up call for everyone who cares about the direction of the game. He was sending a message to the players, the league, and the fans that this isn't what basketball is supposed to feel like. The old-school grit, the pride, the fight, that's what made this sport special. If today's stars keep choosing comfort over competition, that heartbeat might disappear for good, and that's why this moment is so important. So let's be real for a second. Are we really okay letting this soft era define the NBA, or do we want that old-school hunger back? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who today actually plays like they owe it to the fans? Smash that like button if you're tired of excuses, and hit subscribe for more raw takes that call out the league exactly how it is.